Mic check.
Chapter 6 of Fortnite. Everyone's got an opinion, right? Some people treat it like the golden age, others act like the whole thing was a dumpster fire, and honestly, both sides are kinda missing the point. Chapter 6 wasn't perfect, far from it actually, but it did something bold. It tried, it experimented, and some of it actually worked. Now, before you roll your eyes, let me just say this. I'm ranking every single season, from the what even happened, mid-tier disasters, to the peak-tier masterpieces that actually made you want to queue up again. We're talking Hunters, Flawless, Galactic Battle, Super, Shock and Awesome, and yes, the Simpsons season. Every gimmick, every map change, every why is this in the game item, we're breaking it down season by season, no sugarcoating. I'm not here to pat Epic Games on the back, I'm here to tell you what landed, what flopped, and what straight up made me scream at my screen. So buckle up. If you think you know Chapter 6, think again, because by the end of this, you'll see exactly why some seasons deserve your love, and others, well, they deserved your scorn. Chapter 6 kicked off with Hunters, and honestly, it was a solid start. But don't get it twisted, it wasn't flawless. The map leaned hard into Japanese aesthetics, with spots like Shogun Solitude, Warrior's Watch, Flooded Frogs, and Night Shift Forest. On paper, beautiful, but in practice, some of these POIs felt more like Instagram backdrops than actual gameplay hubs. Don't get me wrong, Epic clearly tried to make each area feel alive and strategic, but let's be real, too many POIs early on spread players thinner than peanut butter on cardboard. Landing in a unique spot? Cool. Finding someone to actually fight? It's hit or miss. Weapon-wise, Hunters gave us the Hollow Twister Assault Rifle, Fury Assault Rifle, Twin Fire Shotgun, and the Typhoon Blade. Yes, the Typhoon Blade. Melee that didn't feel completely broken for once. And the Oni masks? Now we're talking. Fire Oni mask? Meh, decent at best. Teleportation Oni mask? Surprisingly strategic. Not broken enough to make you a god, but useful enough to bait yourself out of a tight spot. That's how you design an item, Epic. Not every gimmick landed, but a few actually did. Medallions added some chaos too. Shogun X giving invisibility while sprinting? Game changer. Nairo's constantly reloading ammo? Niche, but neat. And the Godzilla collab medallion? Dash charges on command. Wait for the cooldown, then mash your way through fights. Fun, simple, and effective. The main problem? Consistency. Some items screamed epic, others felt like afterthoughts. Map pacing, medallion placement, and the occasional loot inbounds kept things from feeling perfect. For first season, Hunters had heart, it had style, it had strategy, and it didn't completely break the game. So for this, I would put it in great tier, no doubt. Not peak, but reminding you why Fortnite could still surprise you. Chapter 6 Season 2, Flawless. Crime themed, stylish, and yet somehow chaotic enough to make you question if Epic even tested it. First off, the idea of dilbits and black markets, pretty clever on paper. You can hunt them down, spend them, and get yourself legendary weapons. Aggression actually mattered this season, which was a refreshing change from camping until the storm decides to hug you. But here's the thing, these dilbits weren't rare enough to feel like treasure, yet not common enough to make everyone happy. You find one match, maybe two, and suddenly it became a scavenger hunt that sometimes rewarded skill and sometimes just punished patience. The loot pool was decent. Collateral damage assault rifle, outlaw shotgun, rocket drill, yes, the rocket drill, and let's not forget tactical items like the pulse scanner, which could spot enemies hiding like cowards behind walls. You wanted creativity? You got it. Was it perfectly balanced? Not even close. But at least it felt like you had choices. That's something Chapter 6 struggled with early on. Medallions returned and they were less dominating than before. The Unstoppable Medallion letting you attack while sprinting? Cool. Super Shield Medallion creating a bubble wall healing? Niche, but fun for Zero Build Chaos. Unlike Hunters, there wasn't that one medallion that broke the game. Instead, it felt like a spread out buffet of power-ups. Nothing overwhelming, all situational. You had to think a little, adapt, and maybe actually make a play instead of mindlessly spamming your abilities. The map design? Still dense. Crime-themed POIs were slick, but they occasionally broke flow. Some areas felt overly cluttered, while others were ghost towns. Pacing issues persisted, but there was more method than madness here. Overall, Flawless showed Chapter 6 could innovate without completely destroying balance. In the grand scheme, I would put in good tier. Creative, packed with ideas, and a decent mix of skill and chaos. Not everything hit perfectly, but it finally felt like the game was encouraging risk without punishing you for trying. Flawless didn't dominate the conversation like Hunters did, but it quietly set the stage for the next experiment. 6 Mini Season 1. Oh boy, where do I even start? Immediately, I have to slap a mid-tier label on this one because, well, it's a mess wrapped up in potential. The weapon system got a complete overhaul, no ammo, just overheating guns. On paper, infinite ammo sounds amazing. In practice, it killed all the tension. You didn't have to manage your shots, didn't have to strategize about resource use. Skill? Optional. Planning? Out the window. Fun? Debatable. But then we had the vehicles. X-Wings, TIE fighters. Yes, you could literally fly into someone's face and then turn them into red smear before they even blinked. They hit like trucks, had decent health, and basically turned you into an airborne nightmare. Encountering one of these felt less like a fight and more like, well, I guess I die now. Overpowered? Understatement of the year. Loot pool wasn't much better. The E11 blaster came back, again, and yes, it was as unreliable as ever. Inaccurate, frustrating, and fun for exactly 0 seconds. Lightsabers, back in the game, because why not? Honestly, it felt like Epic Games just threw whatever Star Wars nonsense they could into the mix without thinking about balance. Some weapons were fine, a few were okay, but most, just annoying. The map had potential. Galactic zones, futuristic aesthetics, neat POIs, but with the vehicles and overheat system dominating play, it hardly mattered. Strategy was optional. Skill mattered less, and it had a few good ideas, but they were buried under broken toys and poorly balanced systems. So yeah, mid-tier. Not an abomination, not a masterpiece, just there. Galactic Battle had flashes of fun, but mostly it was frustrating. It's the season you remember for the chaos, not the gameplay. A missed opportunity wrapped in shiny spaceships and overhyped gimmicks. Epic tried to innovate, but they forgot the one thing Fortnite thrives on: meaningful player choice. Chapter 6 Season 3. Finally, a breath of fresh air. Epic went all in on the superhero theme, and for once, it actually worked. POIs like Supernova Academy, Utopia City, and Demon's Domain weren't just eye candy, they had purpose. You could actually fight, loot, and rotate without feeling like the map was actively trolling you. For once, a Chapter 6 season felt intentional. The new ranking system added some spice too. You can climb from C rank all the way to S+, and unlock increasingly powerful boons along the way. Hero chests appeared on the map depending on your rank, giving you a taste of progression and reward. But here's the kicker: the grind sometimes felt ridiculous. Walking across half the map for one chest? Sure, cool in theory. In practice, it was a side quest nobody asked for. Still, the system encouraged movement and risk-taking, which was a nice change of pace from the lazy, land, loot, shoot style. Loot pool-wise, it was decent. The Fury AR felt fast without being broken. The Spy Rifle had 50 bullets but a painful reload, meaning no assault rifle dominated. The Mist Gauntlets were weak, but the Mistform Crow transformation was a fun little power spike, especially in Zero Build, where it let you dive in and disrupt fights creatively. Balance issues cropped up with the Superman update, overpowered abilities wreaking havoc, but overall, this season maintained structure without killing creativity. The gameplay loop was enjoyable, POIs were meaningful, and Epic finally seemed to understand pacing. So I will put it in great tier, without any question to it. Super Season felt intentional, fun, and elevated Fortnite without breaking the game. Not perfect, but it reminded us that Epic could still innovate in ways that actually enhance the experience, rather than just throwing chaos at the player. It's the kind of season that makes you optimistic about what comes next. Just don't get too comfortable, because Chapter 6 had a habit of swinging from genius to disaster without warning. Chapter 6 Season 4. Bug Invasion, Chaos, and somehow, it works. Kind of. Epic threw a literal insect apocalypse at the map, with the Hive, OXR HQ, Ranger's Ruin, and Swarmy Stash getting overrun. Visually, wild. Gameplay-wise, stressful, tense, fun in bursts, but also a headache if you just wanted a normal fight. Fortnite was loud, messy, and unpredictable, exactly how this season branded itself. Weapons were a mixed bag. Lead Spitter 3000, OXR rifle, Bug Blaster. Actually, let's pause on the Bug Blaster. The charged version hits 90 damage, can destroy builds, and has a rapid reload. Overpowered? Debatable. Fun? Absolutely. But then there's the roly-poly, a ball that rolls around the map to protect you. Great concept, except the Bug Blaster kills it instantly. One hit, and you're dead. Strategy? Optional. Frustration guaranteed. Medallions returned and, as usual, broke the game. Overpowered items that could decide fights before they even started. In fact, Epic actually had to remove them mid-season just to keep things somewhat fair. Classic Fortnite, fun idea, terrible execution. Fortnite mayors added characters like Ghostface and Doja Cat. Cool? Sure. Did it affect gameplay? Not really. Just more chaos and a reason to scream at the screen while trying to survive the bugs. Overall, Shock and Awesome delivered spectacle and chaos, but with a fair share of frustration. The season had moments of brilliance, but the pacing issues and broken items kept it from feeling smooth. Map design was wild, loot was decent, but the balance problems made it hard to fully enjoy. Good tier fits perfectly. Fun, creative, messy, chaotic, but not flawless. Epic tried something bold, and it sometimes landed, sometimes didn't. Shock and Awesome was a wild ride, exactly the kind of over-the-top, unpredictable season Fortnite thrives on, but it wasn't always easy to play, and that's why it didn't reach great tier. Chapter 6 Mini Season 2, The Simpsons Season. Finally, Epic hit a home run. The island became Springfield, with Evergreen Terrace, the Springfield Town Square, and even the iconic power plant. This wasn't just a reskin slapped on the map, it was densely packed, cleverly designed, and actually fun to play. Player count dropped from 100 to 80, the map got smaller, and early game skirmishes became intense. Strategy mattered more than ever now, and fights felt meaningful instead of accidental. Weapons leaned into the ridiculous and fun. Krusty's Mr. Blasty? Overpowered at first, then patched to balance perfection. Cobalt Slingshot? A hilarious twist with real impacts. Shotguns like the Ranger, Thunder, and Tactical mixed well with the assault rifles, letting players pick their style instead of defaulting to one meta. Consumables like the Krusty Burger and the Super Squishy weren't just jokes, they actually added tactical value. Epic nailed that balance between fun and function, which Chapter 6 has struggled with for most of its run. Loot was meaningful, fights were chaotic in the best way, and the cultural tie-in? Genius. The Simpsons isn't just nostalgia, it's clever, funny, and gives players reason to explore every corner of the map. You want a creativity, risk, and rewards? This season delivered all three without overcomplicating or breaking the game. Community impact was huge. Player count shot back up, matches were lively, and for the first time in a while, it felt like Fortnite was not just surviving, but thriving. Innovation, balance, and sheer fun came together perfectly. So yeah, I would put this in peak tier. This is the kind of season that makes you believe Epic still knows how to take risks, design meaningful gameplay, and entertain. The Simpsons season didn't just work, it excelled. Every gimmick had a purpose, every fight felt exciting, and every playthrough reminded you why Fortnite can still be the game we love. Peak tier, no questions asked. Alright, now let's wrap this up. Chapter 6 of Fortnite was something else. Risk-taking, chaotic, sometimes brilliant, sometimes frustrating. Every season tried to carve its own identity, and some actually pulled it off. So here's the breakdown. Galactic Battle, mid-tier. Lawless and Shock and Awesome, good tier. Hunters and Super, great tier. And The Simpsons, peak tier. No questions asked. That's the reality. Now, some people will complain, saying Fortnite's declining, Epic doesn't know what it's doing, and sure, there were hiccups here and there. But the truth, Chapter 6 showed experimentation. Some seasons were experiments gone wrong, others gone right. Mid-tier Galactic Battle was rough, but it tried new things. Lawless introduced skill-based rewards with medallions and black markets. Shock and Awesome went wild, chaotic, messy. Hunters and Super reminded us that when Epic focuses, it can deliver great pacing and meaningful choices. And Simpsons, it proved that when everything clicks, map design, weapons, items, and fun, Fortnite can still feel alive, fresh, and absurdly entertaining. The biggest takeaway? Consistency is king. Chapter 6 swung between genius and frustration, often in the same week. New weapons, medallions, mechanics, some worked, some didn't, but every season gave players something different. You could argue about balance, pacing, or whether certain items were overpowered. Fine. But you can't argue that Epic didn't try to push the boundaries. That's what makes Chapter 6 stand out. So yeah, some of it was messy, some of it was broken. Some of it made you scream at your screen, but all of it was memorable. Chapter 6 reminded us that Fortnite isn't just about building or shooting, it's about moments. Chaos, creativity, and sometimes ridiculous fun. Peak tier moments exist alongside mid-tier disasters, and that's okay. In short, Chapter 6 was a wild ride. Some seasons fell flat, others soared, but everyone added flavor to the chapter. Simpsons took the crown, but every season deserves respect for trying something new. Epic may not always get it right, but when they do, it's magic. Chapter 6 wasn't perfect, but it was Fortnite at its most daring. So there it is. My ranking, my take, my rants. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because if Chapter 6 taught us anything, it's that Fortnite isn't done surprising us yet. But that's all from me. See you all in Chapter 7.
Beefing with my chick while I'm in jail. Trying not to click off on restriction, can't make bail. My is it going all this way? I ain't called in a minute, ain't balled in a minute.